Now, pay up your bills or get disconnected. That's the message coming through from the Electricity Company of Ghana. The company is on a campaign to recover some 5.7 billion cedis in revenue losses. A number of activities are underway, but first, we understand that a number of institutions have been disconnected already, including the Energy Ministry itself, which supervises this very institution. Listen to the Chief Executive Officer for the Electricity Company of Ghana, Samuel Mahama.
Look, if you take 10 ECG customers, 5 will be prepaid, 5 will be postpaid. Out of the 5 postpaid, 3 of them are paying, 2 are not. When you take the prepaid, all are paying, but 3 of them are doing illegal connections.
Wow. Unbelievable.
You understand? And it's all because of the new digitization drive that we've been on since I became MD. That, look, ECG has 2.5 million postpaid customers and 800 meter readers.
What?
800 meter readers?
Yeah.
For 2.5 million
country.
meters?
Yes.
For 2.5 million meters?
Yes. So, now, clearly, you know the business model is what? Wrong.
So why don't you just hire more?
So, where do you pay them?
Change the meters.
Where do you pay them from? It has to be a carrot and a stick. So you have to find a way to balance, there should be a balancing act. Now we are all out. Today I'm doing media. Second half of the day I'm out there with the teams.
Reading meters.
Hey, and bills. Look, you've received a bill before. If we haven't read your meter, you are enshrined to pay what your last bill was. Keep paying it. It's even good for you. Keep paying it until finally your meter is read, and then there's the reconciliation, and then you start moving from there. But some people, they haven't come, so no. But even in the case of the SLTs, when I say SLTs, I mean special low tariff customers, that's industry. We have what we call the AMR. They have their meter, they have people assigned to their meters in their company. We are able to read their meters remotely from our place, our office. So what's the excuse? In your budget for the year, you put the electricity as part. I'm sure your business does. It's a cost. But where most people have that, but ECG never receives the money. Then later, after it's piled up over a period of time, you come with a payment plan. All because it belongs to the government. Attitudinal change has to start now. When it was PDS, I'm sure everybody realized, oh, the matter has changed. It's a private institution now. So when they go back, they start talking about how PDS was doing good with what? Revenue. It's because of our mindset. What changed after that? Why do people stop paying? We talk about fixing problems. We always talk about fixing problems. But when you ask the average Ghanaian, what are you trying to do in your corner to fix the problem? Then you start hearing excuses. Oh, my child that, I had to do this, I pay school fees. But the thing, you've consumed it.
How much of the 5.7 are you hoping that you can get?
100%.
100%?
Yes. First things first that I need to put out there is that no ECG staff, I repeat, no ECG staff is mandated to collect cash. This is a cashless exercise because of the new platform that we have. They are well equipped to generate a pay-in slip for you to go to the nearest bank and pay. They are well equipped to generate your payment all the way for you to receive a notification to pay by Momo, Vodafone Cash, whatever. If you want to pay by bank card, they are well equipped to give you that option. No ECG staff is to collect cash. We've had rumors of people calling people and telling them, look, ECG as a company has suffered. People have registered Momo numbers under the name ECG Cash Payment Point and taking money from unsuspecting Ghanaians. Please, if it is not an approved ECG collection point, we also know people will try to take advantage of this exercise. So the dial *226#, follow the prompts and verify the ECG staff who came or who has come to your house.
Give us that short code again, please.
*226#.
And that will help you verify the identity of the ECG
staff that has come to the house for the exercise, if you are in doubt.
Okay.
Truth be told, there are going to be a lot of disconnections. I know, because I have a feeling some people may try to leverage on one thing or the other. My plea out there is, please, let's stop these phone calls to places or to people to try and intervene, because this time around, my fear is that it may end up looking like somebody is being recalcitrant or somebody doesn't respect. But please, you know what you have done. You know you have consumed. Let's not do this to our own company. It's very easy to drop the ball at the doorstep of the ECG staff or the ECG team. But 5.7 billion Ghana cedis, come on.
Well, so that's the managing director for the Electricity Company of Ghana, James Aveju, was together with the team monitoring that exercise. James, welcome. So what did we find on the ground?
So this part of the operation, we know it's a nationwide operation at the district level, the regional level, and the national level. So this part of the operation was led by the National Task Force team. Today we visited 3 state institutions, which are the Parliament House, the Ghana Airport Company Limited, as well as the Ghana Broadcasting Corporation, which is the GBC. And
what did we find out?
So in total, all 3 of these state-owned institutions are owing in a total of 46.9 million Ghana cedis. Now, when we first visited Parliament, Parliament owes some 13 million Ghana cedis. And so when we went to Parliament, the ECG went there with the motive to actually disconnect Parliament. And then they were met by officials of Parliament. And from the interactions initially, they were offering some 1 million Ghana cedis to prevent the disconnection, but the ECG wouldn't take that. And so they went into a meeting that lasted about some 15-20 minutes. And then they came back with the agreement that the Parliament has agreed to pay some 8.5 million Ghana cedis out of the 13 million Ghana cedis. Now, the 5 million out of the 8.5 we were told will be paid through by the Finance Ministry through the GIFMIS platform. And so the 3.5 million cedis, they wrote a check to that effect to the Electricity Company of Ghana, but they rejected the check because, as we just heard earlier, the managing director saying that the team is now accepting cash or check on the field. They are accepting electronic transactions. And so according to the external manager of external communications of the ECG, she told us that Parliament was made to transfer the 3.5 million cedis through the electronic system to their account. And so that was the story of Parliament. After that, they had to leave Parliament without disconnecting their light. And so as we speak, Parliament should still be owing some 4.5 million Ghana cedis out of the 13 million Ghana cedis. So from there, we moved to the Ghana Airport Company Limited. When we got there, the team was met with some resistance from the securities in the premises. They accuse us of invading their premises because they have not been informed of our presence there. And so it led to some sort of scuffle between the media team as well as especially and the security personnel who said we do not have to film anything on the ground. And so it led to a bit of scuffle for about some 5-7 minutes, prompting the attention of officials or the management to come to the ground. And so it led to another meeting with the ECG officials. Now, the Ghana Airport Company Limited were told, as at last year's operation, this is the second in recent time the ECG is undertaking this operation. So as at the last operation, which was undertaken last year, they were owing some 48 million Ghana cedis. And so they paid 20 million out of that, owing some 28 million cedis to the ECG. And so what they were doing was that they were paying their current bills after that exercise. And so for the current bills, they do not owe anything, but in arrears, they owe 28 million Ghana cedis. And so from that meeting, after the meeting, they have agreed to pay 10 million cedis. And so they also made that payment upfront through electronic transactions to the ECG systems. And so as we speak, they are also owing some 10 million Ghana cedis out of the out of 18 million Ghana cedis, sorry, out of the 28 million Ghana cedis from the Ghana Airport Company Limited. And so that was the story of the two state institutions. And so we terminated the day at the Ghana Broadcasting Corporation. We're told they were also owing in arrears of 5.9 million Ghana cedis. It was more than that, but government paid some 17 million Ghana cedis as of last year, leaving an arrears of 5.9 million Ghana cedis. And they also adopted the strategy of paying current bills, and so they do not owe any current bill. Now, what we picked up from the interaction between the GBC management as well as the ECG was that they reached an agreement with the Energy Ministry through the Information Ministry that the 5.9 million Ghana cedis arrears will be paid by government this year. And so there was no need to disconnect them. That also led to another discussion and a meeting which lasted some few minutes. And then the ECG came back to tell us that the agreement they had with the Energy Ministry through the Finance Ministry last year still stand. And so they will continue paying their current bill while the 5.9 will be outstanding. And then they will see how, as at when government has the money, they will pay that. So that's what day one of the exercise led by the National Task Force has been. And so they have been tasked to visit all state-owned agencies who owe the ECG. And so it resumes tomorrow. So in all, the three state-owned agencies owed a total of 46.9 million Ghana cedis. They have been able to retrieve 18.5 million Ghana cedis. I think they are left with about some 28 or 24.4 million Ghana cedis to pay.
Okay, James Aveji, thank you for the update. Adam Yakubu is with the Institute for Energy Security. He's joining us via Zoom. Thank you for your time. This mass disconnection exercise, would it really yield much more revenue for ECG that has always had this trajectory of indebtedness? Adam, if you can hear me, I'm asking if this will make any difference in terms of the mass disconnection exercise we're looking at here.
Yeah, so good afternoon to you and good afternoon to your listeners. So first of all, let's commend the ECG for taking this initiative, as it would help at least mobilize some of the revenue that is owed by the institution. And I believe that this should be done regularly instead of doing it annually. Then it's done once annually, then it is repeated. If we do it regularly, I'm sure that even companies that owe the ECG would be prompted to pay up the arrears they owe the institution. And so this is an initiative that should be commended. Yeah.
But will that really yield to an increment in the revenue of the institution? It's always been a challenge for them. They've carried out similar exercises in the past.
So even though it might not augment the effort, but at least they say the little drops of water makes the mighty ocean. If today they've been able to get some money from Parliament, they've been able to get something from Ghana Airports Company, like your reporter, at least for today, the revenue numbers would come up. And so if the process is going to be repeated throughout the month, I believe by the end of the month, if they should look at the numbers, it should be encouraging. So that is why I'm saying it shouldn't just be a one-off activity. It should be something that should be done periodically. And like the MD stated, that the number of employees to monitor even the meters is a challenge. And so they are constrained. That is why the digitization drive that they have taken is really commendable. And that should be encouraged greatly, given the fact that we are living in a technological era. We can still be giving excuses of people are not available to check the meters. What then do? We have complained for far too long. And so it is a time that we should be acting and not still be complaining.
Thinking about some of these state institutions involved, even the Energy Ministry itself, it raises questions about the posture of government institutions, isn't it?
Yeah, so on the issue of state agencies owing, we believe that it is about time that the ECG be privatized to allow efficiency, in a sense that, oftentimes when these issues come up, there's always an issue of government has intervened. I remember, I think somewhere last year when Valco was shut down, it took the president to intervene to be able to negotiate for Valco to be reopened. And so it should tell you that it is about time that we allow some private participation in the management of ECG, given the fact that it does about 85% of the revenue of the energy distribution value chain. And you know that if ECG's numbers are not doing well in terms of revenue, it affects GridCo, which is the transmission, and it affects the fuel suppliers, as well as the IPPs or private generators. So it is not just ECG that is being affected by these revenue shortfalls. All those actors within the power value chain are equally affected. Power supply in terms of fuel, distribution in terms of GridCo, then ECG itself, its operations, maintenance, and also investment are all constrained. And so we should all encourage that these activities be consistent and be repetitive, and not one of like it is done.
Okay, and the way forward for ECG to bring about innovation and to sustain, of course, its revenue mobilization posture. What do you recommend from the position of IU?
So one thing I have observed this morning, I was listening to the news somewhere in the north. There's still not much understanding of the activities of these new meters and the digitization drive. So I would encourage that the MD should put much focus on sensitizing people to understand that the ECG is an institution that stands to generate revenue, and it is on the back of this revenue that the institution operates. So if you don't pay your bills and the lights begin to go off, you cannot blame the ECG. Rather, it is when you pay your bills, they have enough money that they can invest to ensure that your lights are sustained. So one of the things I would want them to do immediately is a massive sensitization drive, because I listened to the program, which was carried in the local dialect, and most of contributors who called into the program didn't even understand what the ECG is doing or how the meters operate. And I believe that there are even equally people living in urban areas who equally don't understand how the activities of ECG and its operations work. So if they are doing this, they should also do massive sensitization exercises on their activities. I believe this way it enlightens people. And on the part of government, we should be looking at how does private sector come into the management of ECG, so that there's no excuse of state agency owing a state agency, but state agency owing a private investor who would go after you at all lengths to take his money.
And the electronic transaction they've adopted this time, will that protect the pairs?
Yes, to a larger extent. That might say that is very innovative and clever, in a sense that over the years, people go out there in the name of doing mass disconnections. We hear later they were paid some monies. Look at how interesting human beings. They pay monies for the lights not to be disconnected, but will not be taken out of their arrears. So the person is comfortable to bribe the team or whatever, and not be ready to pay part of the bill. And so I think that the decision of not taking cash at the spot, I don't know how you are going to cheat the system if they are not taking cash or check. So definitely it is something that we need to commend. And
right. So
ECG, thumbs up. They should keep it up, and we believe that.
Thanks for joining us here on the Pulse, and I'm grateful for your time.
I'm grateful.
We'll be right back. Please stay.